This is NBR Today. PGG Wrightson Shareholders have agreed to sell the company's seed division to Danish company DLF Seeds for $421 million. DLF Seeds made a conditional offer for the seed division on August the 4th this year, pending shareholder approval, and that was given at a special meeting and AGM today in Christchurch. Although one shareholder later growled it went ahead despite an angry minority. Regulatory approval is still needed before the deal becomes unconditional. So the deal will see roughly half of PGG Wrightson's assets being sold off and benefits the company's 50.2% shareholder Agria. It also allows directors to make a non-taxable distribution to shareholders of up to $292 million, although Deputy Chairman Trevor Burt said the board hasn't finished that piece of work yet. There are growth options to be identified. CBL is back in the spotlight today with a court ruling shedding more light on a dairy factory transaction involving the failed insurer and its principals, Peter Harris and Alistair Hutchison. In a court judgment, Justice Paul Davison ordered that a company called CDZNT01, formerly known as the New Zealand Dairy Company, not be struck off the register to ensure its liquidator had the opportunity to pursue insolvent transaction claims. The company was set up to develop an infant formula blending and packaging plant in Auckland, and the judgment says its directors approached Messrs Harris and Hutchison seeking investment to help finance the $7 to $8 million building costs. What happened from there with loans, new shareholders and various sales is now under investigation by the liquidator. Well, the growth in global tourism has been one of the significant business trends to emerge in the past 10 years. Now, while traditional tour groups are a staple of the market, the rising numbers has spawned growth of new age groups catering to free independent travellers, so think Airbnb. In the same way countries have invested in infrastructure and services to attract the tourist visitor, so too have many global markets invested in attracting and accommodating the tourist investor. Tourist investors are typically transient and often not dedicated to any particular market. So how can we entice them to New Zealand? NBR's Rodney Hide spoke to columnist Richard Patterson.
New Zealand has to be sitting there trying to work out ways that we can bring them here and attract and bring their liquidity. The tourist visitor brings money to New Zealand that they invest in the economy. The tourist investor brings liquidity. They bring fees, but they also bring liquidity as well. And in a market like New Zealand, where liquidity is often deprived, that isn't a benefit that the market here should be looking to try and capture.
The NZX has got the green light from the Financial Markets Authority to change its listing rules and condense its three boards into one. The changes will come into effect at the start of next year, with a 6-month leniency period to allow issuers to get used to them. The struggling stock exchange operator signalled its intention over the past year to refresh its rules, which hadn't been reviewed in the 15 years since they'd been introduced. It hopes they will better fit its range of issuers and promote market development by reducing complexity, beefing up investor protection and improving access for foreign listings. NZX policy head Hamish MacDonald says the policy settings align with other global markets, which should encourage more dual and foreign exempt listings. Although it's too soon to measure the effects of the government's recent changes to post-study work rights, the value of international education appears to be on track to hit targets. A new report based on 2017 data shows the annual economic value of the sector is $5.1 billion, making it the country's fourth largest export. It says $4.8 billion is attributed to international students visiting New Zealand, while $300 million to education and training goods and services delivered offshore. There's been a drop in the number of visiting students in Auckland, mainly due to the closure of some of the private training establishments that weren't meeting the requirements. The robustness of the sector may also reopen the debate about rebalancing investment toward vocational training, with new research showing the high cost to the taxpayer of tertiary education compared to more cost-effective work-based traineeships and apprenticeships. And so to tomorrow we go. Immigration Minister Ian Lees-Galloway has let convicted criminal and Czech migrant Karol Strobeck stay in the country. Rodney Hide asks why New Zealand First isn't kicking up a fuss. For more on those stories, head to our website. Have a great evening.
To unlock your 2 free articles a week, head to nbr.co.nz.